Get it. When I get it, girl, you know I love it. And besides, my own girl, I got a love for this money. Paper I be chasing, you already know that. Problems I be facing, wish I could erase them. Banana clip, and I don't need no extension. Get a grip, cause I don't need no one tripping. When I get it, I don't need your attention. Get it, girl, and finish it, whipping, I be back for more. I'm pretty sure that's the show. Gotta go get the money, then back to the milk.
Well, I must say that I am exhausted and well deserving of a vacation or a getaway or something at this point.
I'm trying to find peace in my life and share it with you. Wish I could find peace in my life eternally. For what I eventually, I hope you the angel that sent me.
I imagined that I would have been ready to rush right in the first class CRV that I looked at, but it so wasn't the case. Week after week after week turned into month after month after month. When you're in the business of finding the best motorhome for your family, there are so many questions and the answers. Or you have all the answers, but no one is asking you any questions. I've flown and driven over 1/3 of this United States in search of my rig. But you know, I felt like I owed it to myself and to my family to spend as much time making my decision as I did in dreaming up the vision. I didn't want to move too slow, but I wasn't holding back. Now roger that. I managed to weave through the adversities that attaches itself to the mindset of those who consciously and unconsciously fear African Americans. I had to rely on my wits to not become a sitting victim of these kinds of intentional strongholds. Reflecting back upon how I was initially approached, it's hard to say whether or not our age or our color had more of an influence behind the kind of service we received when looking for motorhomes. The funny thing about discrimination is everyone seems so sure to point out what discrimination is, but no one mentions what discrimination isn't. Discrimination isn't a salesman that has a disrespectful attitude towards me. He was just a bad jerk having an even worse day. And nothing about a salesman having a bad day is discriminatory. Discrimination is not the salesman disregarding my request for a tour. He's just another jerk that doesn't seem so interested in a potential sale. So surely not making your quota is not discriminatory. Discrimination is not the false assurances of returned calls, nor is it the intentional miscommunications that resulted in a lost deposit on a motorhome. He was just another salesman not doing his job appropriately and had horrible customer service skills. I am a rationally thinking woman.
No wire hangers!
And I pride myself on being fair as my understanding will allow me. All of the above aforementioned scenarios does not warrant anyone to classify this type of response as discriminatory. Discrimination isn't illegal based off of how you feel. Discrimination is illegal based off of what you can prove. You see, all of the aforementioned responses I had gotten as a result of trying to purchase a motorhome all came from the same motorhome dealership.
Oh, hell no!
Individually, each of these incidents would not have been seen or could not be proven as discriminatory, but collectively, I have identified a pattern that is arguable and permissible to be challenged in a court of law if I so chose to go that route. Now, because I've already taken my fair share of shots at illegal discriminatory behavior before, I knew what to do and how to handle it. So to all of you motorhome salesmen, commercial or private, that has crossed the illegal boundaries of discriminating against someone because of their age, sex, or race, I am informing and equipping those that want to know in order to get justice behind these kind of injustices. A salesman should be in the business of making sales, not lawsuits. Stay in your lane. You have been forewarned. We eventually find a rig we love after rolling over in the sheets 6 or 7 times in regards to the price. This was going to be a huge financial investment I was getting ready to make, and, it was in mobile real estate. And although mobile real estate is lucrative and booming as far as investing in one for business, I still had to swallow a few large cups of courage in order to get the green light on giving a final yes. I purchased my RV off of the good faith of some people that I now call friends. I used eBay to bid on a rig that I had not seen with my own eyes, just with pictures and conversations back and forth between the owners and I. It had the right mileage, and the extras that he was offering as a result of sealing the deal with us was too good to pass up. Mike is his name, and he lived in Staten Island, New York. He's an Italian husband and father of 4 who owns and operates a bully puppy farm. My best friend and I made arrangements to fly up there to Staten Island and check out the rig, and if it was all that we had hoped it would be, we were going to be driving it all the way from New York back to Chicago. Mike and his wife were very, very kind to us, and we bonded so fast it seemed that our whole connection was majestic. We shared a lot of information between us, business-wise and personal, and we had such a great time that they invited us to stay the night just to make sure we wanted the rig. We drove it around, and then we spent the night in it so we could get acclimated with everything we needed to know in order to make the right decision. During this time, we got acquainted with Mike's children, and the whole evening was so inspiring and magical that I knew without a shadow of a doubt that this was the rig for us. Everything was exact and as precise as he had shared with us, and we did our own inspections and tests based off of what we were educated with. He threw in so many extras. I literally didn't have to buy anything. I had to make my choice, and I was confident in it. But most of all, I was so excited. We talked all night long when we spent the night in the RV that night. It was all day and all night. I will never forget any of it. Everything was a win-win situation for everyone, and making a financial purchase of that size isn't easy to do, but everything went a lot sweeter because of the connection that we made. Honesty goes a long, long way, longer than the wind blows. We didn't get a chance to sightsee or anything while we were in New York. We were there for one thing and one thing only. Once we had solidified the transaction, it was time to leave. Can you believe that we were so caught up into the purchase and making sure that we had checked everything on our checklist that we didn't check which way we should take home? Neither I or my best friend had ever driven a motorhome. We had just made the biggest purchase of our lives, and we didn't know how to technically drive it, nor did we know in which direction to take. Now, this is the part where most people would consider us crazy or stupid, or any of the other words people use to decimate someone's reality. But I just say this is the part where we had to jump off the ledge and learn how to fly on the way down. I thought Chicago was confusing. Ha! In passing, New Yorkers seem to have an amazing hospitality, and just as equally amazing is the ability to be dismissive. I wasn't too surprised about New York at all. It's exactly how I imagined it would be. Everyone segregating themselves to whom and whatever comforts their moment. The hustle and bustle of agreeing to disagree with taste, culture, fashion, and politics. It was a common part, so I seen common things. Overall, I'm just not that big of a fan of New York. It's oversaturated with homeland security, and the everyday movement is too reminiscent of an ant colony violating martial law. Long story short, you all can have New York. The uncommonness of its commonness is too much for me. The drive home. The drive home was the first time I've ever had the opportunity to ride in an RV longer than a test drive. I heard every creaking noise and bang amplified times 20 because I was so nervous. We didn't bring the children along because we knew we had to get acclimated to driving without the distractions that children bring, so we were just winging it. It was just the two of us and a puppy I bought for the children, a beagle hound we named Serious Mystery. We pulled into a gas station to learn the dent the price was going to put in our pockets. Gas at that time in New York was $4.02 a gallon for premium. When we got done filling up the tank for the first time, it cost me $239. The motorhome felt like it was swaying as we rode through the mountains and plains of Pennsylvania. I kept hearing every single solitary noise as if it was my own heartbeat. I was afraid to ride in the back while we were moving, so I just sat glued to the front seat while I watched my best friend drive and learn how to navigate this massive 31-foot home on wheels. I kept the camera rolling the entire time just in case we encountered anything that we needed to take note of or something that we might have missed. I think we started off driving at around 50 miles per hour at first. It felt safer at that speed. We could have chosen a better time to leave out instead of leaving during the morning rush hour traffic, but that actually helped us get acquainted with driving abilities and restrictions while we were slow crawling. Once we got down the highway, though, and we were able to maintain a decent speed, I was able to now pretend that I wasn't afraid of my best friend's driving. At first, I couldn't even hide the expression on my face, but at this point, I can, just to bring him some kind of comfort while he's driving because I know that he was nervous trying to learn how to drive this as well. A lot of people were blowing at us as they drove by. And to this date, I don't know what they were blowing at. I don't know if they were trying to say hello or if they thought we were nuts for driving so slow, but it didn't matter. I was at home. I was where I needed to be. And even though I was terrified, I was going to try to enjoy the rest of this ride. Once I got over my paranoia of not knowing how to get back home, and the paranoia of feeling like we were going to run out of gas, and the paranoia of watching my best friend not know how to do what he was actually doing, I actually got a chance to enjoy the ride.